Good morning, students. How are you? Okay, fine. Last class we have completed the meter bridge. By using that meter bridge, we have calculated the unknown resistance of the given wire and its resistivity. And this meter bridge is also used to calculate the temperature coefficient of given material of the wire. Again, one more application from the meter bridge. From the meter bridge, we can calculate the temperature coefficient of a thermistor. That is a semiconductor device. The name itself indicates that thermistor is nothing but thermally sensitive resistor. So, after completion of the meter bridge, we go for the last thing of the topic from the current intensity, that is potentiometer. What is that potentiometer? The name itself indicates that. Potentio, that is potential difference. Meter means to measure. Potentiometer is a device or an instrument which is used to measure the EMF of a cell or comparison of EMF of a cell and to calculate the internal resistance of a cell. Every cell has got its own internal resistance. Without internal resistance, there will be no existence of the cell. If the internal resistance of the cell is 0, then such a cell is called ideal cell. But there will be no existence of the ideal cell. Whatever may be the standard quality of the cell, it must possess what? Its internal resistance, whether it may be low or high. But the internal resistance of the cell never becomes 0. So, to compare the EMFs of a given cell and to calculate the internal resistance of a cell, we use the potentiometer. So, to accurate measurement of the potential difference across the ends of the wire, that is only possible by the device potentiometer. Then what is the difference between the potentiometer and voltmeter? Voltmeter is also used to measure the potential difference. Potentiometer is also used to measure the potential difference across the ends of the wire. Then what is the importance of the potentiometer? We come across accuracy. The accuracy of the potentiometer is far better than what? Voltmeter. Potentiometer is nothing but voltmeter with having infinite resistance. Hence, this potentiometer is also known as ideal voltmeter. This potentiometer is also known as ideal voltmeter. Then, what is the principle of that potentiometer? You come across principle. The principle of the potentiometer states that when a constant current is passing through a uniform cross-sectional area of a wire, when a constant current is passing through a uniform cross-section of a wire, then the potential difference across any two ends of the wire, the potential difference between any two ends of the wire is directly proportional to its length. What is that? The principle of potentiometer states that when a constant current is passing through a uniform cross-section of the wire, the potential difference between the two ends of the wire is directly proportional to its length. That is nothing but V is directly proportional to L, where L is the length of the wire. So, by using this principle, we come across how to get V is directly proportional to L. Then what is that potentiometer consists? We come across construction of potentiometer. Are you following? The difference between the potentiometer and meter bridge is having only 1 meter length of the wire, but the potentiometer consists of more than 1 meter of the wire. It is up to extension of what? 10 meters maximum. So, the potentiometer consists of a segments of the wire which are stretched between the two copper strips. Now these are the two copper strips I call end A and end B. And the length of the wire is, the segment of the length of the wire is stretched. Now this is 1 meter length. Now this is another meter length. A wooden board that is nothing but meter scale is going to be mounted parallel to the length of the wire. Now this is a meter scale. I am getting the point. The meter scale is going to be mounted parallel to the length of the wire. This complete setup is mounted on the wooden board. And the nature of the wire used for the construction of potentiometer is constant ton or manganese. Now these are the alloy. Why not the copper steel? When you come across the copper wire, the copper is nothing but the good conductor whose temperature coefficient and resistivity, when I compare the alloys and copper, for the constant and manganese, these are belongs to ion which are having low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. That is the main factor. And it is the reverse for what? Copper wires. For the small variation of the temperature, there is a change in resistivity that affect the resistance, that affect the potential difference. Hence, we prefer the constant and manganese alloy wires for the construction of our potentiometer. They possess low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. We take the copper strip because they possess what? Low resistivity. That resistivity should not be added with what? The resistivity of what? Copper wire. So we take the constant and manganese alloy wires. They are having low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. Then the end A is maintained with what? A battery connection. With key. Another end is end B provided with connection with what? A rheostat, so that we can maintain the constant current. And whatever the potential difference is to be measured, and the voltmeter is going to be connected, and another end of the voltmeter goes to jockey, so that we can easily slide on the wire jockey. So this is our construction of what? Potentiometers. So I make the simplest form of this one. Now these are the two ends of the wire, A and B ends. Now the battery connection, key, there is a rheostat. With the help of the rheostat we can adjust the current and maintain the constant current. Now this is nothing but the voltmeter. The another end of the voltmeter goes to jockey. Now this is nothing but OR, simplest form. Then, now this circuit is called primary circuit, battery. This is key. By placing the key, by maintaining the constant current, if you want to know the current, you can put the ammeter also here. Don't make the circuit to be too complicated. If you connect the ammeter in series, we can know that how much amount of the current is passing in the circuit. That is the only thing. So, if I slide the jockey on the wire, it covers the length L and it measures the corresponding potential difference V. By passing the constant current, now this is nothing but the null point. So that is nothing but N point. Now this is nothing but J. So I don't go for the null point here. So when I move from end A to the certain distance of the wire, whatever the length is covered, that length is having its own, length of the wire is having its own resistance, then it measures what? The potential difference V, by maintaining the constant current with the help of what? Rheostat. Where is L is the length of the wire of having its own resistance R. Then by maintaining the constant current through the rheostat, by maintaining the current constant with the help of what? Rheostat, if the jockey is going to be slide on the wire, if it covers the length L, that measures the corresponding potential difference V, and R is the length of that corresponding wire resistance, capital R. I want to have the V is directly proportional to L. We are passing the current and every conductor has got its own resistance. That length is directly proportional to what? Resistance of the wire. We are measuring the potential difference. Then I go for what? Ohm's law. From Ohm's law. From Ohm's law. V equals to I into R. Then every wire has got its own resistivity. So especially for the manganese constant and alloys, they are low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. Then when I come across the resistivity factor, then R equals to rho L divided by A. Is it clear? Then V R rho L divided by A. Are you getting the point? Then I keep this equation V. By maintaining the constant current, the resistivity of the given material of the wire is constant with uniform cross-section area A. These are constant factors I take aside and length 1 separate. By maintaining the constant current, I constant, the resistivity of the given material of the wire is constant. The current is passing through the uniform cross-section area A. Now this complete term is constant. Shall I write K? Are you getting the point? Then I make the final equation. V equals to K into L, where K is constant. Now this K is known as, when I come across that, V by L. V by L is nothing but potential gradient. Potential gradient. Already we have studied in the first PUC. Gradient. Any physical quantity divided by distance gives the gradient of that physical quantity. Velocity by distance, velocity gradient. Temperature by distance, temperature gradient. Pressure by distance, pressure gradient. Then potential divided by distance, V by L. That length is nothing but here. That is nothing but meter. Meter is the unit of what distance. We can say that V by L is nothing but K. Potential gradient. If I remove equals to K sign, then it becomes what? V is directly proportional to L. Is it the things earlier we have explained while giving the statement for principle of potentiometer. So, once again this equation reveals what? The principle of potentiometer. When a constant current is passed through a wire of uniform cross-section area, when a constant current is passed through a wire of uniform cross-section area, then the potential difference along the length of the wire is directly proportional to its length. The potential difference along the length of the wire between the two ends of the wire, that is nothing but V is directly proportional to L. Now this is nothing but our principle of potentiometer, and this is the verification of what? The principle of potentiometer. Then we come across finally V is directly proportional to L. Now this is our concept. We start with what? The construction. So there are the segment of the wires which are stretched parallel on the wooden board, and the meter scale is mounted parallel with the length of the wire, and it is stretched between the two copper strips. The wire used for the construction of the potentiometer is constant or manganite. These are belongs to the alloys because they have got low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. Then one end of the wire A is connected to the battery through the rheostat, so that we can adjust the current to maintain the current with the help of the rheostat, so that we can pass the constant current through the wire of uniform cross section area, and V is the voltmeter. So it is connected to the jockey. As we slide the jockey on the wire, whatever the length we are going to be covering, that length of the wire having its own resistance, then it measures corresponding its potential difference. Then I come across the principal V is directly proportional to F. So I go for that Ohm's law, V equals to I power. So R is nothing but, because we are using the wire of having particular resistivity and length and uniform cross section area, L, R equals to rho L divided by A by substituting this. Now these factors are constant. So what are the constant factors here? Well, these are the terms substituted, then constant terms. Constant current is passing through the wire of uniform cross section area. This complete term is constant. That constant K is nothing but potential gradient. And if I remove the equals to and K, then it becomes what? Proportionality. V is directly proportional to F. So, to have this statement, we come across the equation. By passing the constant current through the wire of uniform cross section area, the potential difference along the length of the wire is directly proportional to its length. V is directly proportional to it. Now this is our construction and the principle of potentiometer. Then what are the applications of potentiometer? Then I come across application of potentiometer. First application, according to our NCERT syllabus, first one is comparison of EMF of a given cell, and the next one to calculate the inter-resistance of a cell. When you prepare the cell, when you bring that cell to the market, before coming to the market of that cell to the market, we have to determine its inter-resistance. On the basis of the inter-resistance, we can decide that whether the cell is standard or low quality. If the inter-resistance is high, then there will be no use of using such cells. As the inter-resistance is low, such cells are considered as a standard cell. As the cell goes on using, its inter-resistance also increases, then it provides what? Lesser current. So we prefer always the cells with lesser inter-resistance. So, first one, comparison of EMFs. Comparison of EMFs of a cell. To have the comparison, I need at least two. Then you can take any numbers, but single one cannot be compared with itself. So I go for basic circuit diagram for the potentiometer. The potentiometer consists the segments of the wire that is stretched between the two ends, A and B, and the end A is provided with the battery connection, and this circuit is called primary circuit, provided with key and rheostat to maintain the constant current in the circuit. If you want to know the strength of the current, you can include the ammeter. If you goes on including the ammeter and other things, that is somewhat complicated. To avoid that one, if you want to know how much amount of the current is passing in the circuit, you can put the ammeter in series. You can place here or anywhere else in the primary. Now this circuit is called primary circuit because it provides the current to the potentiometer. Now this is a battery. I want to compare the EMFs. I need the two cells. The cells are connected between them. That is to the point A. How the cells are connected here? They are connected in parallel. So the cells are here parallel, having EMF E1, EMF E2. Then I go for key. This is one key, K1. This is another key, K2. Now this is a common end. Goes to galvanometer, another end goes to jockey. Now this is one method. Otherwise, if you want to avoid the confusion, you make it simply K1 and K2. Now this is a point, common point for the keys. Now this is K1 and this is K2. If you don't want to mention the key structure. Are you getting the point? Now this is all your start. Now this is a cell of having EMF E1 and this is a cell of having EMF E2, and these are the two keys K1 and K2, and the galvanometer goes to jockey. Now this is our circuit diagram. By using this circuit diagram, how to compare the EMFs? So now this is nothing but the secondary circuit. Now this is called primary circuit. if you get the deflection on both the sides, one thing should be noted in the circuit diagram. Your primary EMF, the voltage applied in the primary should be greater than secondary voltage. Then only we get the null point, otherwise not. Especially in the while doing the practical with potentiometer. Now this EMF is lesser than this EMF, then we never get what? Null point. Then there will be no use of doing the experiment. Then we never come across what? Comparison of EMF by using potentiometer. So I want to start the experiment first. Now this is our experimental arrangement. With the help of rheostat, I want to pass the constant current in the circuit. Then I close the key K1, close K1 and K2 open. It means K1 is connected in the circuit. That is when K1 is closed, E1 is connected in the circuit, E1 is included in the circuit, but there will be no inclusion of what? E2, because we have not closed K2. K2 is open, K1 is closed. Then we are measuring what? EMF of E1. So when K1 is closed and K2 is open, then I slide the jockey from the end A on the wire, how long? Till to get zero deflection, null point. Then that gives what? The length L1. Are you getting the point? For E1, I want to include E1 in the circuit. K1 is closed, K2 is open. When E1 is included in the circuit, I want to know its what? The EMF. So the jockey is going to be start from the end A and slide on the wire. How long? Till to get zero deflection in the galvanometer. That measures what? The balancing length L. Then from the principle of potentiometer, V is directly proportional. V is measured in terms of volt. EMF is also measured in terms of volt. Hence E is directly proportional. This is the original equation. V is replaced by E. Therefore, E1 corresponding length L1. Shall I call equation number 1? Yes. Are you getting the point? What we have done? After the arrangement of the circuit diagram, we have taken the two cells which are connected in parallel, that is to the point A, and this circuit is called primary circuit and this is called secondary circuit. I want to know the EMF of the cell E1. By using the principle of potentiometer, I close the K1, key K1 and K2 is open, E1 is included in the circuit, then I goes on sliding the jockey from the point A on the wire of a potentiometer till to get zero deflection. Then we know that principle of the potentiometer, V is directly proportional to L, V is measured in terms of volt, EMF is also measured in terms of volt, similar quantities can be compared, V is replaced by E is directly proportional to L. Then I take the concept of this one, then I can say that E1 is directly proportional to L1. Is it clear? Then I go for second one. This is first. Second, I want to know the EMF of what? E2 in terms of length. Then close K2 and K1 is open. When K2 is closed and K1 is open, it means that the E2 is included in the circuit. There will be no inclusion of what? E1. Then again the same procedure. I goes on sliding the jockey on the wire from the end A. How long? Till to get the zero deflection in the galvanometer. Then it measures what? Length L2. Are you getting the point? The same procedure, simplest one. Then I can go for the equation. E2 is directly proportional to L2. Shall I write equation number 2? Then I want to have the comparison. E1 is directly proportional to L1. Shall I write? E1, that is nothing but constant K, L1. E2 is directly proportional to L2. E2 constant K, L2. Then I divide these two equations on dividing. Shall I divide them? Finally we get E1 by E2 is equals to KL1 divided by KL2. Shall I cancel K term? Then the final equation is E1 by E2 equals to L1 by L2. Now this is our comparison of the EMF by knowing the lengths L1 and L2. Are you getting that? Now this is the simplest thing, how to compare the EMF by using the potentiometer. The same thing we are going to do in the laboratory. Now this is our theoretical section. On these equations we have worked certain problems by dealing the potentiometer problems. Now this is the things, basic things for the potentiometer or the comparison of EMFs. Is it clear? Just glance the equations. The figure is in front of you. What are the things to be done with the figure, everything will be explained clearly here. Now this is our basic equation. V is directly proportional to L. That V is replaced by E. E is directly proportional to L. Then this is the equation for first case. E1 is directly proportional to L1. Now this is the equation for second case. E2 is directly proportional to L2. Then K is the proportional constant. Then divide them, K get cancels. By E1 by E2 equals to L1 by L2. By knowing the lengths, we can calculate, we can compare the EMFs. Is it clear? Yes. Then what is the next application of potentiometer? The potentiometer is used to know the intra-resistance of a given cell. Intra-resistance of a given cell. It means that I have taken single cell. And what is that intra-resistance? Just by simply holding the cell in our hand, we never going to be say that now this cell is having its own intra-resistance like this. Unless until we go for what? The experimental evidence with potentiometer. So, now this is our primary circuit as it is. I do not alter anything for the primary circuit. So, I want to measure the EMF. That is nothing but determination of internal resistance of a given cell. Now this is my primary circuit. Now these are the two ends of the potentiometer wire, and it is connected to the battery connection through the key. To maintain the constant current in the circuit, I need the rheostat. How much amount of the current is passing in the circuit? If you want to determine it, you go for inclusion of what? Include ammeter. Wherever there is, that should be connected in series. Then, now this is my cell of EMF E, whose intra-resistance is to be determined. That is connected to the end A of the potentiometer, where the battery is connected. Then, I take the resistance box. That is nothing but the resistance box having the resistance R. Connect with parallel to the cell. Then, this is nothing but what? Provided with key. And it goes to the galvanometer. Galvanometer then goes to joint. Now this is our circuit. Are you getting the point? I kept in parallel with cell of EMF a resistance box having resistance R, and it's provided with key and common terminal of both the things, negative terminal, and one other end of the key goes to galvanometer, another end goes to Schottky. Now this is my circuit. Now this is also key, and this is also carried at K dash here to avoid the confusion. So, I want to determine the inter-resistance of this cell. I have to go for like this. It is correct. Then, we know that EMF is defined as the open circuit voltage is known as EMF, the closed circuit voltage is known as potential difference. The simple thing. When you brought the everyday cell from the market, if you held that everyday cell in your hand, it is in your hand, it is not connected in the circuit, that measures EMF. The same cell is put for the torch or the watch, then it is in the circuit, then it measures what? Potential difference. The open circuit voltage is known as EMF and the closed circuit voltage is known as potential difference. I take the same concept here. So, the key is closed. K is closed. So that we can supply the constant current with the help of what? Rheostat. That must be there in the circuit. K is closed. Step 1. K is closed and K dash is open. Open circuit voltage is known as EMF. It is not included in the circuit. K dash is not included. Only EMF is there. Open circuit voltage is known as EMF. Then the same procedure. I take the jockey at the point A and goes on sliding on the wire of the meter pitch whole long till to get the zero deflection. It gives the what? Balancing point. Then only E is included in the circuit. That is nothing but. So open circuit voltage is known as EMF. Then I can write E is directly proportional to length L1. First I call length L1. When K dash is open and K is closed. For length L1. To avoid the confusion. Then I want to include the resistance box in the circuit. K1 is that second step, step 2. K must be closed. Without closing the K, we cannot pass the current. Then there will be no use of what? Using the potentiometer. K is closed. We must maintain the constant. K is closed and K dash is also closed. Both are closed. It gives what? For length L2. Already K is closed. I close the K dash, then the R is included in the circuit. Open circuit voltage is known as EMF, closed circuit voltage is known as potential difference. Then I can get V here. The same procedure, take the jockey at the end A, goes on sliding on the wire of a potentiometer till to get zero deflection. That measures the length L2. Then potential difference is directly proportional to K. Is it clear? Then I make the ratio of E by, hence E by V is equals to L1 by L2. K get cancels, constants are get cancels. I place the equation as it is. Are you getting the point? First I close the K, then I maintain the constant current with the help of the rheostat. K dash is open, R is not included with E. Open circuit voltage is known as EMF. Then I slide the jockey on the wire till to get the zero deflection. Then I can get length L1. I have written that for length L1. Then I can write E is directly proportional to L1. When K dash is closed, both K and K dash are closed. R is included with what? The cell. Then I want to close circuit voltage is known as potential difference. Then V is directly proportional. Then same procedure goes on sliding the jockey on the wire of the potentiometer till to get the zero deflection. Then it measures what? Length L2. V is directly proportional to L2. I take the ratio of E and V. The proportional constant is get cancels for both the things. L1 by L2. E by V equals L1 by L2. Then I come across the requirement of the main thing of the topic, intra-resistance of a cell. We know that let from Ohm's law applied to the circuit, I equals to total current equals to total EMF divided by total resistance. I equals to E divided by R plus R. Then it is based on what? The potential difference, length. Wherever the existence of the potential difference, there is the existence of what? Current and resistance. Then shall I write I equals to V by R, but I equals to V by R, Ohm's law. So V by R is equals to E divided by R plus R. I need small r. Then I go for cross multiplication. Shall I use here? R plus R is equals to E by V into R. Is it clear? Just check the equation. I take R plus R to the numerator cross multiplication. E into R divided by V. I make E by V separate. Then I need only R. R equals to E by V into R. If it is going to be shifted, it becomes what? Minus. Then small r equals to, shall I take R common? E by V minus 1. Just check the equation. There will be no confusion. Just follow the things clearly. Is it clear? I have taken the equation from Ohm's law. Apply to the circuit. I equals to V divided by R plus R. Then from Ohm's law, I equals to V by R. I substitute. I is replaced by V by R. Then I do the cross multiplication. Let me write here. Is it clear? Then this is my cross multiplication. I need small r inter resistance. Then it should be shifted minus r is taken as common. But I want the equation E by V equals to what? L1 by L2. But E by V equals to L1 by L2. Shall I replace that E by V equals L1 by L2? Then small r equals to capital R. L1 by L2 minus 1. This is my requirement to calculate the inter resistance. Without any strain, just you follow the steps clearly. And you can easily come to know that how to determine that inter resistance. Of course, we are doing in the practical. While solving the problems, we need the inter resistance of a cell. Then we go for L1 and L2 are provided. If you know the equation, we can easily substitute the values of L1 and L2 and calculate R. Is it clear? Just glance the equations. Nothing should be there. Everything will be made clear. Now these are the two important applications of what? The potentiometer. That potentiometer is used to comparison of the EMF and to determine the inter resistance of a cell. So for comparison of the EMF, E1 by E2 equals to L1 by L2. For inter resistance, now this is now steps to be followed. Now from this is the experimental evidence. After that, we go for Ohm's law applied to the basic equation. Total current equals to total EMF divided by total resistance. But from Ohm's law, I equals to V by R. Replace I by V by R. Then do the cross multiplication. Then take R towards the crossing that equals to sign, it becomes minus. And R is a common. E by V already we have proved experimentally L1 by L2. Replace E by V is equals to L1 by L2. Now this is our equation for to calculate the inter resistance of a closed. Now this is our potentiometer. To have the accurate measurement of potential difference, we go for potentiometer. Potentiometer is also called ideal voltmeter. By using that potentiometer, we compare the EMF, we can calculate the inter resistance of a given cell, and it is also used to calibrate ammeter and voltmeters. It is also used to calibrate ammeter and voltmeter. Now this is about what? The potentiometer. This makes the end of the topic, that is current electricity. Are you getting the point? So, after the completion of the topic successfully, if you have got any doubts regarding the whole topics, wherever you are not going to understand the derivation steps, you go for the comment section and mention properly in the comment section. Then we go for once again the repetition for that one. We are taking the classes for understanding of yourself. If you are understanding betterly, we are very happy. Are you getting the point? Yes. Then let me have the quick revision for whole topic. Whatever the things we have done in current electricity, then I go for a quick revision for that. The current electricity is one of the fundamental branch in the science. Without the current, it is very difficult to lead the life. Hence, we can say that it is one of the fundamental branch of the science. That is one of the fundamental branch in the physics. What is the current? Current is nothing but, the general meaning for the current is nothing but to flow. Then we are dealing with electric current, hence the flow of electric charges. Then we come across the electric current is known as the rate of flow of electric charges. The rate of flow of charges is known as current. Then we can give the equation I equals to Q by T. Then this equation is also, you can modify I equals to Q by T. Then Q equals to N into V. I can take T. 1 by T is nothing but frequency. Then I can write I equals to N into F also. By taking the basic terms related to the charge and the time taken for one complete part, that is nothing but period. Reciprocal of the time period is nothing but frequency. Then after that we come across the types of the current. One is the steady current, that is direct current. Another one is alternating current. The direct current, where the magnitude and the directions remain same, there will be no change. In the case of alternating current, there is a change in magnitude and also reverses polarity for every half cycle. Then AC, we know that. What is that AC? Your cell provides the DC, and AC is nothing but the AC generators. They provide what? The AC. That separate section we have. Then after that, we come across the current in terms of drift velocity. We are given the hint for two. Current in terms of drift velocity, that is nothing but NAE NAE into VD, where VD is called drift velocity. What is that drift velocity? The average velocity with which the electrons are moving inside the conductor from one end to another end under the influence of what? Electric field. The drift velocity is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 5 meter per second. Before application of the electric field, the average velocity of the electrons inside the conductor is 0. So, after that, we come across the expression for drift velocity. Then, I have told that don't add the equations. Velocity comes under what? Acceleration. The rate of change of velocity is called acceleration. Then, velocity equals to acceleration into time. That acceleration is nothing but force by mass. Time is nothing but here relaxation time. Then force in terms of electrostatics, E equals to F by Q, F equals to E into Q, Q is replaced by E. So, minus E into E divided by M into Tau. This is our 3 mass equation. When you go for with circuit, within one step we can get the derivation without that. That negative sign indicates that the direction of the drift velocity is opposite to the direction of what? Electric field. The electric field is from positive to negative. The drift velocity is from negative to positive, opposite to the direction of the electric field. Then after that we come across mobility of the electrons. The drift velocity is the result of what? Electric field. Unless and until to apply the electric field, the electrons are not going to be set in a particular manner from one end to another end. Hence, the drift velocity is directly proportional to electric field. When I solve this one, drift velocity is equals to constant, belongs to what? Motion of the electron, mobility mu of the electrons with E. Then mobility of the electron is nothing but the ratio of drift velocity to the applied electric field. Already we have completed, that is nothing but our quick division. Are you getting the point? Don't add it. The electrons are getting drifted under the influence of the electric field. Make the equation, then you go for the derivation. Then make the equation, then you can go for the definition. Mobility of the electron is defined as the ratio of drift velocity to the electric field. Then I don't go for the assignment other fact. That is completely already did it in the regular topic. Then one more thing we have introduced, the current density. J equals to current per unit area. Current is a scalar quantity, but current density is a vector quantity. So, this current can also be given in terms of integration form. That is nothing but J into ds. With the dot product of the two vector gives what? Scalar. Are you getting the point? Then after that, we come across the heat generated in the conductor, that is work done, W equals to H, VIT. Then we come across the power equals to work done by time, that is the equation, VIT by T, V into R. Then we have given the two more equations for this power by using the Ohm's law, V equals to I into R concept. Then after that, we come across Ohm's law. Ohm's law that gives the equation V equals to I into R. The current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to potential difference, provided the temperature and other physical conditions are kept constant. Then we arrive the equation V equals to I into R. One more term we have introduced, the resistance R. That resistance R is nothing but opposition offered for the flow of electrons by the conductor. It is nothing but its inherent property. Every conductor has got its own resistance. So, the resistance is a result of what? Collision of the electrons during the motion. Due to that collision, opposition is offered for the flow of electrons. That result what? Resistance, more collision. Less resistance, less collision. No resistance, no collision. That zero resistance is nothing but superconductivity. That is a different factor. So the resistance is represented by symbol R. This is circuit symbol. Its SI unit is Ohm. Now this is the symbolic representation of Ohm. Then next term will come across related with resistance, conductance. The reciprocal of resistance is called conductance. Conductance. G equals to 1 by R. Its SI unit is per ohm, or spell it reverse, mho, or Simon. George Simon Ohm. Ohm. Then what is that? Simon. So its SI unit is Simon or per ohm. Then after that, every resistance has got the term resistivity, opposing capacity of the conductor to the flow of electrons, that measures its resistivity. Opposition is nothing but resistance. How extent they oppose the flow of electrons, that is nothing but their capacity to opposing, that measures its resistivity. That resistivity is nothing but rho. Are you getting the point? Now this rho depends on what? The resistivity depends on nature of the material. The resistivity depends on what? Temperature, but it is independent of dimensions of the conductor. Rho equals to, then we know that basic equation for resistance R is directly proportional to L and inversely proportional to cross-section area. By solving this one, we get R equals to rho L by A. Then I set the equation for rho, RA divided by L. Are you getting the point? RA divided by L, its unit is ohm meter. Now this is our resistivity. So by seeing the equation, rho is directly proportional to and inversely proportional to cross-section area, sometimes the equation fools us. By changing the area, rho changes. By changing the length, rho changes. Nothing should happen. By changing the area and length, nothing should happen for the rho. Rho is totally independent of dimensions of the conductor. It depends on nature of the material and the temperature factors. So I need the original equation for rho. I don't want to be convinced. I never want to be convinced from this. Sir, ये है, L है, कैसा change नहीं हो सकता है? I need what original equation? The original equation of the resistance R equals to. Now this is my original equation. Then I make the separation of the terms. M constant, N constant, E square constant, rho constant. What are the variable factors? L and A. Now these terms are here. Rho equals to M divided by N E square term. Then this equation becomes what? Rho L by A. Now this is the equation. Do you find any L and A in original equation? M is the mass of the electron, N is the number of electrons available per unit volume of the conductor, E is the charge of the electron, term is the relaxation. So the resistivity is independent of dimension. Are you going to be clear from this equation? Never going to be convinced from this equation because A and L. When you go from this equation, there will be no existence of A and L. Yes, sir, मान लेते, agree कर लेते, it is independent of dimension. This is a original equation. If I take the reciprocal of resistivity, that is nothing but conductivity 1 by rho N E square tau divided by N. Now this equation we have proved. Are you getting the point? The reciprocal of the resistivity is nothing but conductivity, that is N E square tau divided by M. Is it clear? Then after this, we have dealt with what? Temperature coefficient of the materials, that is resistance and conductor. We have given the equation for resistance temperature RT equals to R0, 1 plus alpha into T. Then we have made the equation alpha equals to RT. That is nothing but I solve this equation RT equals to R0 plus R0 alpha T. Then RT minus R0 divided by R0 T is equals to alpha. So by knowing the temperature T and the reference resistance R0 and variation of the resistance with respect to temperature, then we can calculate alpha. If there are two resistance, if R1 corresponding T1, R2 corresponding T2, then alpha. By keeping this equation as the base, then I made the equation. You don't have the derivation in the topic. But at the time of solving the problems in the NEET and the CET, we go for the equation. There are two temperatures and corresponding to resistance. Then calculate alpha. We never go for lengthiest one. Then we go for output. Which one you need what? R1 first or R2 first? Then I can make simply hint R1 minus R2. Then I can write RT minus RT. So there are only two things. Two resistance, 1 and 2. I make the cycle. After 1, 2. After 2, 1. This is the cycle. 1, 2, 1. 2, 1. Similarly, we can make alpha equals to also. Alpha equals to, shall I write R2 minus R1 divided by RT minus RT. 2, make the cycle completion. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So that makes the several steps to come to the conclusion, and the easiest way to remember the equation. So there are the two resistance corresponding to temperatures, T1 and T2. Then I go for alpha. Alpha equals to R1 minus R2 divided by R2 T1 minus R1 T2. Similarly for this equation, R2 minus R1 divided by RT minus RT, I make the completion of part, that is nothing but cycle 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now this is our temperature coefficient of what? Conductors. So by varying the temperature, there is a change in resistance and resistivity. What are the main factors? Decrease of relaxation time. So already we know that resistivity is inversely proportional to relaxation time. As the temperature increases, relaxation time decreases. Hence resistivity increases. As the resistivity increases, there must be the increase in what? Resistance also. Hence for conductor, we gave the relation between resistance and temperature. R is directly proportional to T. This concept is called positive temperature coefficient, PTC. What is the root cause for varying the resistance and resistivity? That is nothing but from the equation, rho is inversely proportional to relaxation time. As the temperature increases, relaxation time decreases. As the relaxation time decreases, resistivity increases. As the resistivity increases, there is an increase in temperature. Then we can establish the relation between the resistance and temperature for conductor directly proportional. So these type of the materials are called positive temperature coefficient materials. Conductors are belongs to what? Positive temperature coefficient. Similarly for insulator and semiconductors. Shall I go for here? For insulator and semiconductors, what is the relation between resistance and temperature? Naturally, inversely proportional. As the temperature increases, resistance decreases, and these are belongs to negative temperature coefficient materials. These are belongs to negative temperature coefficient materials. Now this is the concept of what? Positive temperature coefficient materials and negative temperature coefficient materials. So for the conductor, usually in current electricity we are dealing with conductor. So resistance increases with temperature. Now this is the root cause for that. Then what is the relation between resistance and temperature? Directly proportional for conductor. Hence they are belongs to positive temperature coefficient materials. If you come across the insulator and semiconductors, what is the relation between resistance and temperature? Inversely proportional. R is inversely proportional to T. Hence they are belongs to what? Negative temperature coefficient. Now this is about what? Temperature coefficient of the materials. So in the next class, already we have completed the complete topic. I go for quick revision so that so many things are revealed, so that it is easy to understand the previous things. The next class, combination of the resistance, then color coding and continuation. So up to the potentiometer, easy way how to remember it. Then certain hints are given. Then I go for one class, NEET and JEE class for that. Important relations with certain terms. Then I go for problem solving. That makes a complete end of the topic with problems. Are you getting the point? Are you understanding? Are you following? You have to be enjoy the equations, especially current electricity. The things are cleared. everyone is very happy. So, the next class, whatever the things are remaining with the simplest view of the giving explanation of the whole topic, that continuation with color codings and other things. Thank you.